Yahweh bless you. I'll be doing a teaching tonight. It's going to be on Masters of Discipline and kind of lessons in discipline. We'll be looking at Moses' life and Paul's life. And I knew a guy in college that he would take a waterproof bottle rocket and he'd break the tip off and he'd throw it in the shower of our roommates. Do you know what happens if you break the tip off of a bottle rocket?
It can't fly.
Oh, it can fly.
Flies crazy.
And so whoever's taking a shower, so a bottle rocket without a tail on it is power without discipline. It's without discipline. All of us have abilities, but if you don't have discipline with your abilities, it's not a whole lot of good. Another example, and so I want to incorporate these with all of our lives too. And I also don't want, you can misuse anything. Anything can be misused, right? They're bad parents that discipline their kids too much to burn out. We're not going to go on that. We're going to say for godly parents who are walking by the Holy Spirit, the Ruah, going, put your kids into this prep school, make them learn the clarinet, make them do this, straight A's or whatever it is, whatever that is. It's going to be okay. Hebrews 12:11 says, does anybody know what that scripture says?
Faith.
You know it?
Faith chapter. That's
It is a faith and endurance chapter. It says, discipline does not seem profitable at the time.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. When you're being disciplined, mom and dad hate you. It's because you're the oldest. It's because they love Ruth more than everybody, right? That's what your flesh will do. No discipline seems profitable. But a jet turbine engine is very powerful. We can do a lot with it, right? But the wing, the tail, and the pilot are all additional weight and drag to that turbine, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is drag. But the wing, the tail, and the turbine and the pilot are all disciplined with power. And so you have abilities. How are you using? Are you incorporating discipline with it? Or maybe you're not even using your abilities. I don't know. But by incorporating discipline with abilities, it will actually give you strength, and then you'll have it. Dad pointed this out once. Your car does not have a speed. It has a vector. Speed is this. A vector is, what would you call it? Velocity. Velocity.
It's speed with direction.
Speed with the direction. And there's a lot of believers, and we got to help, and maybe even in our own lives, that we're like a bottle rocket bouncing around. We have abilities. You ever seen somebody who's got a really good heart?
all thrust, no vector. That's what they used to say.
Okay, all thrust, no vector. That'd be great. Fuel. What is a turbine engine without fuel? Nothing. What is fuel? We'll be studying Hebrews 11 is the faith or certainty and endurance chapter. Do you know what chapter 12 is about? The discipline. 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 And how could you be so disciplined? You got to have fuel to compensate for the drag of that. And what was the fuel of Jesus Christ? The joy that was set before him. If you don't have joy set in front of you, you don't have fuel. You're not going to get there. So Donna, what gives you great joy about the resurrection? Not just seeing dead people that are resurrected. What gives you joy? What is giving you fuel to go, I want to run my race in a way in which to win? Everybody's abandoned me. What's going to keep you in there? And if you don't have that joy, you don't have fuel to get there, you're probably going to peter out. And all of us are going to do every once in a while. That's where we get to say, what's your joy? What makes you joyful? Because Jesus Christ, it was the joy that was set before him. Well, what joy was that? It was whatever got him excited. What gets you excited about the resurrection? And then I'll come back. But we'll go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14. And so what we're going to try to do today is observe discipline. And then we're going to see what incredible things are done through discipline. And then try to get us to get fuel, velocity, or we use all thrust, no vector. No vector. That's how I've done that. Father, we thank you for these words we're about ready to hear. 1 Corinthians 14 says that we are to covet, to prophesy, and we are to speak in tongues and interpret. Not because that's what the world does, but it's because what you do. And we do it because we are exercising discipline. And you are the joy that is set before us. We think we get to hear from your voice. So somebody like to speak in tongues, interpret, or prophesy, please do.
Do not forget how powerful I am, my child. Remember that I created this earth. I created you. And I can destroy any evil that goes before you. Just stay with me. Ask for my help. Because I can help you in all things. But you have to ask.
Amen.
Amen.
Speak in tongues and interpret. Seloto swanane shinatakariswe. Pero swanarentariskane natolo. Oriento swatatiskwa. When you put on your shoes in the morning, you look out on the day. Be prepared. Be prepared for what I am going to send you on. Because each day is a new quest, and each day I am giving you instructions on how to start it.
A word of prophecy. I have given you great things and the ability to separate and come before me and set yourself apart, that you may hear from me, that you may be able to discuss with me. For I see it as a beautiful garden that I have created for you to have enjoyment, but also to separate and come to me. And open your eyes, as you have your eyes opened, that you will see things that others are not seeing. Blessings and things that I have given to you, little glimpses of things that are coming.
Stay far away from haughtiness. Continue to stay meek to my word. Be as little children. All the things that you have that make you feel good about yourself are things that I've given you. There is no skill, there is no thought that hasn't been blessed by me. I have made you what you are. Give me, your God and Father, Yahweh is my name, your glory. Lay it upon me, because I am the truth giver.
Thank you, Father, for those words. Amen. What a privilege to get to hear them and get to see discipline exercised. So back to discipline, velocity. Every believer has gifts. And Dad said, if you know what your gifts are, you should ask people. And I think that'd be a good thing. I need to ask too, because you'd think I know. I really don't until somebody brings it up. And then I'm like, oh, okay. One of my gifts, as I was kind of self-reflecting, was motivator. But I didn't use it for the word. A lot of times I could go agitate, get people jacked up, ready to go play sports, do these other things, but I didn't use that ability that I had for the word until later on. So what was it? So there was a turbine engine that I never used. You ever seen that? I remember Rick having a rancher. I go out to ranchers. They got all this equipment out here. They don't even use it. It's just being destroyed. I wonder how many of those implements are in our life spiritually. Never been used, whatever. And not to put anybody down, but this is to prop us up. The meek shall inherit the earth. The earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. How many... Who here has envisioned their earth? The terra firma you're going to inherit? You have. Could you tell us about it a little bit?
Beautiful, lots of lakes.
Lakes?
Yeah, just gardens and things that just to pick. I envision what they saw when they went into Canaan.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is him envisioning where he's going means he had more faith than other people. He's actually going there. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, today it crossed my mind when we were at whatever, but we were looking at all the just this glorious tulips and just pansy, every kind of flower and things just blooming. And every time we go there, it's a little more. Some are dying, some are coming up. It's kind of
okay.
Then what I'm seeing, I think I said to Dad, and then on the new earth, nothing's going to die.
No, but for you, what is yours?
That's me. Nothing's going to die.
Okay, that's your reward.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, and then you're going to go, what should you be focusing on? Like Melania, Donna, Izzy, or me, or whatever. It's what gives you joy. You got to get started. And Yahweh taught me, I was like, man, what a privilege it was to become a father. Because here's my son, I get to see him 4 days a month with a mother who is adversarial against, hates Yahweh. How you going to teach him? I can't. But I learned. All I had to do is take him shopping. Of course, I didn't say I was taking him shopping. I think we went to some outdoor sports once to get something for Elijah, and he's 5, and he went, he saw something he wanted, and I went, hey, he goes, Dad, is there any way I could get that? And I went, you want something? I want something. And then I had to go, yeah, you memorize these scriptures, and so then I would take him shopping. We got to go shopping.
Yeah.
We got to go shopping. Even today, one time Yahweh called me out, and he says, your house, and I was looking at my house, I was so thankful for my other house. I look at it, you had the worst days, and I just kind of look at a manifestation of Yahweh's Hesed, his faithfulness. And he goes, you like that? I said, yes. He goes, what's your house look like on the new earth? I have no idea. Where's your faith, Aaron? And what's ironic is as I was on that topic, I never designed my house. But I designed everything else. What do you really like? I don't know. I couldn't get started.
Yeah. Then
I said, what do you like? Well, I love the mountains. Okay, so you want mountains. Well, I love the scuba dive. So you want mountains? You want to golf? Yeah. But I also like sunsets. So I went on the west. So then I started going on the west of my house, my property. I want it to be prairie. Okay? On the east could be mountains, and I want jungle mountains, but I also want cold mountains over here. And I started, Yahweh was helping me design something that's worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And then I started, okay, so how this and all this. And what I was kind of designing was where we went in Montenegro.
Yeah.
Started looking at this whole thing. Here's where you're going. The fun thing was today, Yahweh pointed out to me, I never designed the house, I forgot. I got so excited with the landscaping.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. And then today, even as I was doing this, getting ready to do the teaching, we haven't gotten into the scriptures, he was like, what does your house look like? I don't care. Where's your faith? And I couldn't think of anything, because what do I need? Do I even need anything big? I was getting started, and you know what popped in my head? A Trump hotel in Scotland. You should see one of these mansions. Oh my goodness. And I went, would that do it? That would do it. And then the idea is we go into battle with something worth fighting for every day. And if you're not going into battle, I've never been in a battle. I've never been in the military. I've never been on with like stuff that you and Rachel possibly have been around. But I could see movies where guys would go into battle with a picture of their wife and their kids, and they would look at it. This is what I'm fighting for. I'm going home. I got to go back. I got that. We got to do that every single day. Every day. And if you're not doing it, you're just missing it.
Yeah.
And you'll have your rewards.
Yeah.
And you're going to go, other people up here. But if it bothers you, other people are going to get more rewards. That's envy. Covet not thy neighbor's goods. You should be work. Get to work. And then, what do you want? You go, okay, this and that. I don't want that guy's stuff. Turn to Acts chapter 7. It wasn't until this teaching that it was unveiled to me. Who here, when me, Acts chapter 7, verse 20. Anybody ever thought that you're going to have to read the Bible, Yahweh's Word, after the resurrection? Never until I was on my knees upstairs. I don't know why. If I want to do a good teaching, I have to be on my knees. I have to write it down 3 times on my knees. I'm not good on my knees. Why? I don't know. I don't know, but I know what I'm supposed to do. But have you ever thought, you better get good at reading this? Well, this isn't just, Yahweh's Word is not just a survival manual for this life. He loves His Word.
I never thought about that.
If you don't read His Word here, you're not going to read it there. If you don't memorize Scriptures here, there's going to be 1,000 years the believers will be teaching the natural men the words and the laws and how to live. And you don't even know it here. You got to get moving. What's the point of studying all these Scriptures if I don't get to teach? That's me. Because almost every time I do a teaching, I have a teaching before it. And he goes, that's not it. I'm like, get good at it. Memorizing Scriptures. We're gonna. This is life. Yahweh loves His Word. I never thought about that, and I went, how did I never think about that? Yeah. I always thought, no, we just need this until the resurrection, and I can think about whatever I want now. That doesn't require faith, though, does it? Because Hebrews 11:6 is, without faith it is impossible to be well-pleasing. Chapter 7, verse 20 and 22. Would somebody please read that?
In which season Moses was born, and was exceedingly goodly, who was nourished up 3 months in the house of his father. But when he was exposed, the daughter of Pharaoh rescued him, and nourished him for herself as a son. And so Moses was trained in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in his words and works.
So we would pause there, and Yahweh gave me so much information, so I'm just going to be like, I get so stressed out. How am I going to get all this out? Probably not. Think about prep school. President Trump went to a prep school. He got sent to like a boarding school. Ooh, yeah, right? I want to go to a public school. I want to go to a government school with C grades where I can sleep in class. The most successful people, and and it's not education. It's not always education. It's not always education. It's discipline. But the people who are sent to prep schools, do they have an advantage? The people that graduated from Harvard, Yale, the people who went to collegiate over Northwest, are you kidding me? The standards and the discipline is so much higher. Now, we're just going to use it in a good way, but you could say Moses was sent to Egyptian prep school. Why? He was the grandson of Pharaoh. What kind of school is President Trump's grandson's going to?
Prep school.
He's not going to some government union teacher thing. He's going to be going to the Ivy League, 5 in the classroom. I remember when Izzy was working for John Bourne, I asked what school they went to, and he goes, they don't go to a regular school. These guys are millionaires. They go to a class with like 12 other millionaire kids. Oh, you think those standards are higher or lower? I don't know. I have an idea. Can you imagine what kind of preparatory school that Moses might have went to? Mm-hmm. And what kind of preparatory school would have this been? To prepare him for what? King. To be a king of Egypt. Mm-hmm. The laws, the rules, the customs, the do-nots. Discipline. I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine. We have no idea. The scriptures don't elaborate what it was. But what did it say about this? It says Moses was trained, and that word "trained" is a very important word because that's a part of this whole teaching. And it's the Greek word "paiduo," and it's going to be used again in Hebrews 12, verse 7. There's a couple different Greek words for discipline in Hebrews, but this word "paiduo," when it's regarding to Jesus Christ, says this is what Moses was: discipline, "paiduo." But it's going to be like discipline, and if you read the definition, it's like prep school. It's corrected for a purpose, doing all these things. And, well, so what? I'm a Hebrew anyways. Is he going to be an Egyptian pharaoh? You guys know the end, right? Do you think his heart would be really in it? How did he do in schooling, guys? Trained as paideo in wisdom, which is Sophia. I was trying to learn how to use the Septuagint. I was not good. I want to see what the equivalent for Sophia is in Hebrew. I don't know yet. And what happened of the Egyptians, not of the Hebrews, not of the world, and was mighty in what?
Words and works.
Was he good?
Yeah.
He's an A+ student. Who points this out?
Yeah.
Through Stephen. Guess who's listening to this? The Apostle Paul.
Apostle Paul, yeah.
Discipline. And Moses, how did he get to this discipline? We just talked about rewards. Rewards, Moses. You want to be Pharaoh? No. Well, then how are you going to survive this? Keep your finger here. Hebrews 11, 24 through 27. Actually, just one person can turn. Well, you can all turn there. It's page 231. How can I go learn? How can I learn algebra? Everybody knows you're never going to use algebra. That is stinking thinking. Rebuke it. That is garbage. You're learning discipline. Losers say you're never going to use algebra and stuff like that. Losers. You don't want to hear it. Because there's not just going to be algebra. People are going to say about other topics that they're too lazy to learn. Mm-hmm. Excel at discipline. What's the point of learning Greek or Hebrew? Get good at being disciplined. You're building a resume. Does Yahweh love discipline? Mm-hmm. Look who he promoted. Are you going to have to use discipline on the new earth? You're building a resume. If you're not disciplined here, why are you going to be disciplined there? Worthy with little, worthy with much. And he's watching us. Can you be disciplined? Can you learn things you don't want to learn? If you read Hebrews 11, 24 through 27, would somebody read that for me?
I will.
Thanks.
24 through 27.
Yeah.
By faith, Moses, when grown up, refused to be called the son of a daughter of a Pharaoh, rather choosing to be jointly suffering ill treatment with the people of Yahweh, than for a reason to having sin's enjoyment, according as greater riches than Egypt's treasure, the reproach of the anointed one, for he was looking away unto recompense. By faith he forsook Egypt, not put in fear of the wrath of the king, for as seeing him who cannot be seen, he preserved.
Persevered, which is real important, because if you read this with this context that other people in the preparatory school or whatever that Moses was going through, what was their reward? For the season to be having sin's enjoyment. If you're an evil Pharaoh, are there rewards for it?
Yeah.
Slaves, prostitutes, concubines, rape, pillage, all kinds of stuff. So you can imagine other students really excelling. Yeah, I'm going to be good. My dad's this or my dad's that. How did Moses get through all that discipline? The invisible Elohim is watching him, and there's a new earth. Because the whole chapter of 11, these guys went through this endurance and certainty. How? The new earth, the new earth, the new earth, the new earth, the new earth. If you don't look at that, it's all about the new earth. Here's Abraham, this new city. How did they do it? How are you going to do it? How did Moses do it? It was the new earth. He excelled at these things for the new earth. Acts chapter 7:23. Would somebody read 23 through 30 for me?
And when there was being fulfilled unto him a period of 40 years, it came up on his heart to look after his brethren, the sons of Israel. And seeing one being wronged, he defended him, and avenged him that was getting worn out, smiting the Egyptian. But he supposed his brethren would understand that Yahweh through his hand would give them deliverance, whereas they understood not. To where?
To 27.
On the following day also he appeared unto them as they were contending, and would have reconciled them in peace, saying, Man, ye are brothers, wherefore wrong ye one another? But he that was wronging his neighbor thrust him away, saying, Who hath appointed thee to be ruler and judge over us?
Okay, what's important is after 40 years as probation, Moses, after this, if you keep reading on, Moses fled, verse 29, at this saying, and became a sojourner in the land of Midian, where he begat 2 sons, and where 40 years were up. Why was he away for 40 years? It is written. It is written. Don't listen to Andrew Womack and these other people. What does it say? They rejected Yahweh. They rejected Moses. Moses was ready. He had been disciplined for 40 years, ready to be a deliverer. Why? To serve the unseen Elohim. He didn't know Yahweh's name at the time. And he had been preparing to serve and learn this discipline. I am the guy. And what would have been his motivation? To serve Yahweh. He's the right time. And then why did he have to leave? They rejected him. They're saying they rejected Caleb and Yehoshua. They rejected him. So why was there an additional 40 years? They rejected it, just like Israel wandered for another 40 years because they rejected. What's also real important for you kids, if you hear other people teach on this, they're going to say, Moses, why did he kill an Egyptian? And Dad's the one that pointed this one out. In Exodus 2:14, don't go there. Let's see here. The Hebrew word is that the Egyptian was murdering
His brother.
an Israelite. So you could ask a teacher, say, if I see somebody getting murdered, should I help them? Should I stop it? How do you have the love of God? If you have the ability, you don't go help them. They go, yeah. They go, Moses was helping somebody that was being murdered.
Oh.
So, Dad's on the point out. Here's the Hebrew word. Someone was being murdered. I don't know why translators don't point it. But Moses was preparing all this discipline for what? Yahweh. Yahweh's people needed to deliver. He was ready to go. They rejected him. But man, he still had all this stuff, which really neat. is this discipline. The Greek word in wisdom is Sophia. Think about somebody that's not only been to Harvard, but they've been in law, or they've been in Washington, D.C. There can go no laws, no rules, and it doesn't matter how motivated we are. They're going to say, this, you can't do it that way. You have to do it this way, right? Mm-hmm. Moses in Exodus chapter 2, let me see here. I made a note here. In Exodus, I think it's 8. He gets to exercise this Sophia, this wisdom. Do you know why? Satan. The hands and feet of Satan was Pharaoh. Mm-hmm. Right? Satan was trying to set a trap for Israel, saying, go ahead, offer your sacrifices. And Moses went, that's a trap. To sacrifice the abomination in front of the Egyptians will kill us all. We have to go out. And so what did he do? Here's his wisdom. He was the perfect guy for the job. So here was him actually exercising some of that discipline. Hebrews 12, verse 11. And that's kind of the theme. We're going to be turning to Hebrews 12 here in a second. Keep a finger here in Acts 7 because we're going to come right back to it. But Hebrews 12, verse 11, it's going to say, no discipline for the present season seemeth to be of joy, but of sorrow. Afterwards, however, to them who thereby have been well trained, it yieldeth peaceful fruit of righteousness. It seemeth no joy, right? You have to take your joy and find your joy. Elijah, have you ever been through some sort of conditioning where people quit? Football or anything else? What are you thinking when you're trying not to quit? Are you thinking about food? Are you thinking about quitting? Yeah. How do you get past it?
I don't know.
You got to control this. You don't think that thought. I can't think that thought. I have to think this thought. I'll worry about quitting football after I win. I don't quit. I'll finish the sprints. And you got to do this here. It says that women, when they're going to be giving birth to babies, they're able to focus all that pain and stuff. They're focusing on something else, and the joy is set before them. They're going to have a baby. It's going to be worth it. Girls are trained their whole life for it.
You don't have any option.
Yeah, you don't have to have children.
No,
sure you do. And then in Hebrews 11, verse 11:24, I think we already read that. No, we already read that. Okay.
Right.
In Colossians 3:27. Malama, you turn there. Everybody else, you might want to stay in Acts 7 for me.
Colossians
3:23.
Colossians chapter 3.
Chapter 3, verse 23. So as she's turning there, then let me know when you're there.
All right, got it.
Okay, so no discipline seems profitable or of joy.
Yeah.
What do you think Moses was going through, seeing his people being tortured, his family or whatever is going through, and he's in prep school? For what purpose? Why am I learning all this? I don't want to be a Hebrew. I didn't ask to be adopted. Mm-hmm. I didn't ask for this. You guys ever thought that? I didn't ask for this. Here's Moses. What did he do? What's Colossians 3:23 say?
Whatsoever ye may be doing, from the soul be working at it, as unto the Lord and not unto men.
Hardly unto Yahweh. And Joseph did the same thing. How did Joseph? Whatever you're doing, it's being watched. It's being live streamed and documented. And Joseph, when Potiphar's wife wanted to commit adultery, he said, how can I sin against Elohim? He's watching me. And that's how you can endure. Moses was able to endure too. Did any of that training for the 40 years seem profitable to Moses for the next 40 years when he's shepherding sheep? What's the point of all that? Can you imagine? What's the point? I mean, I'm thinking about our own discipline. You think about, I went to Harvard, I learned Greek and Hebrew and Latin. I learned physics and chemistry, and I got a PhD in aeronautical engineering, whatever, and here I am shepherding sheep. Huh! What a waste. What was Yahweh orchestrating? Whew. Who are the hands and feet of the adversary, trying to crush the seed of the woman? The adversary. Where was the adversary? Pharaoh. Yahweh. Now as we look back, what was Yahweh orchestrating as the maestro? Sometimes you're just playing the triangle. Sometimes you're just playing the drums a little bit. You got first violin. Hey, how come I can't be a first violin? He likes first violin more than everybody. Focus on your instrument. Don't be covetous or envious. Yahweh was orchestrating. The hand that would deliver Israel from Pharaoh was fed by Pharaoh, was taught by Pharaoh, was raised by Pharaoh. It's not the same Pharaoh, but the same household. And who's running those kingdoms? It was the adversary. And who's going to deliver them? Your adopted kid. Can you imagine the angels going, ah! He who laughs last, laughs best. Wow, Moses did it. He pulled it off. And here you're going to go, but what was Yahweh orchestrating? What is Yahweh desiring to orchestrate in your and my life? What are we holding back? All of us are holding something back. We already went over Acts chapter 7, verse 58. But who's hearing this whole thing about Moses? Moses endured all these things. Was it verse 56? And said, "Lo, I see that." Let me see here. No, yeah, 58. Will somebody read that for me?
Where are we?
I'll read it. Acts chapter 7, verse 58. It's just going to say the second part, and the witness laid their garments at the feet of a young man named Saul. And we're going to find out this. What's that? Oh, okay, so Saul was there for this whole sermon. We're going to come back to Acts 7, so keep your finger. Now turn to Acts chapter 22. We're going to say in Acts chapter 22, 1 through 5. If somebody would read for me. That's page 142.
I'll read it.
Thanks.
1 through 5.
Yeah.
Brethren and fathers, hear ye the defense which I now make unto you. And when they heard that in the Hebrew language he had begun to address them, they kept the more quiet. And he saith, I am a Jew born in Tarsus of Chaldea, but nurtured in this city at the feet of
Gamaliel.
Thank you. Trained after the strictness of our ancestral law, being jealous for Yahweh, just as all ye are this day. And this way I persecuted unto the death, binding, delivering up unto the prisons both men and women, as even the high priest beareth me witness, and all the eldership, from whom letters also accepting to the brethren. Unto Damascus I was journeying.
That's good right there. What we're learning is the word, right after Gamaliel, is the word, same word as Moses, paiduo, trained. And that word in Hebrews 12 can be discipline. What was Paul? He was disciplined or trained under who? Gamaliel. Gamaliel was a Hebrew of Hebrews that when he spoke up, when these people were, they listened. And so you think of it going to some sort of seminary or Harvard or whatever, and you can imagine the adversary watching these things. The adversary doesn't want anybody to know even exists, right?
Right.
But here's Moses, here's a Hebrew, possibly going to take over Egypt. That's going to be great. I'm a Hebrew Pharaoh whooping Hebrews. No, it didn't work out so well. We're going to find out here Moses, or here Paul, Shaul, and here's raised and reared up, and think of the same discipline. What's the purpose of all these lessons, or piano lessons in Greek or algebra or learning, whatever it is you're doing? It could be sports. One of my clients, one of my best clients, you would never know that he's a millionaire. And he owned a business. And he said, I'm going to invest with you. I'm like, yeah, right. And he did. And he was the one that transformed the whole 2020. He goes, I'm going to give you this whole account. I'm like, yeah, right. I've heard that before. And I always said, what would you do with it? I said, I'll double your money. And it changed everything. But the same client, he said, with the business that he started, he and his partner, for the first 3 years, I believe, made less than their managers. Is that easy?
No.
To be making less than your employees. He goes, it wasn't easy. And he goes, I was working 90 to 100 hours a week. I was working weekends. I was working holidays. My wife didn't understand it. But after, I think it was like 7 years or something, all of a sudden it started turning a profit. No discipline seems profitable. His education, he's got a high school education, grew up on a farm. But it's the same thing. He went into this. He obviously was very business savvy. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Here's Paul. Like Moses. And let me see here. Saul was like Moses, raised and trained by Yahweh's enemies. Who killed Jesus Christ?
Hebrews.
The Hebrews, the religious Hebrews. Saul was like Moses, raised and trained by Yahweh's enemies to deliver Israel from Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh at that time was going to be the Sadducees and the Pharisees. Mm-hmm. And that is, Yehoshua, Jesus, actually calls the Pharisees you serpents. He knew exactly what they were and who they worked for. Yeah. And what happened? Saul would have been the right-hand man. What's going to happen with him? He's going to be delivered just like Moses. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be the one that's going to write about the sacred secret, the body of Christ. Yeah. Holy moly! And who's going to go in front of all the learned Jews and speak?
Impossible.
Who could say, I appeal to Caesar? How many else were Romans? I don't know. But he was the man for the job. Now he was going to Rome because of his rebellion. He wasn't supposed to go to Jerusalem. But who else could have went before Festus and all the rest of these things? And Yahweh was able to use all of his discipline to break things through. And here he was just like another Moses. The sacred secret, whom the rulers of this age, who are the rulers of this age? The adversaries people. Had they known the sacred secret, they wouldn't have killed the Lord of glory. And who delivered that message? Not Saul! Oh, Saul, our heartbreak. What a Benedict Arnold. We hate that guy. Man, but that's discipline. And that's the word paiduo. Acts chapter 28. Now we're going to get to see Paul exercise discipline. Man, my last teaching, I got done with the teaching, and I was all over it like a bottle rocket, and I was disappointed because you guys don't know. I had notes I was supposed to say things, I didn't say it. You know how long I worked on it? What you guys don't know is when I do teaching, I spend 8 hours on my knees, or 10 hours. Not anybody can get at teaching. I'm trying to commune. What do you want to know here? And the thing is when I try to do a teaching, he gives me so much information. I'm like, slow down, man. Slow. I'm not going to incorporate it. But last week, I didn't do it on my knees 3 times. I wasn't disciplined. What the heck is it? Why do I have to be on my knees? Then why do I have to record it 3 times? Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense. Acts chapter 28. But you know what? He's a perfect communicator, and all of us know what we're supposed to be doing. He tells you to do it, do it. If you're not going to do this, here somebody. You got anybody in here know somebody that doesn't return text messages? You stop sending messages. Yeah. And they say, "Hey, I want to hear from you." You're always not mocked. You won't pick up your phone. Now there could be exceptions, but it'd be the same thing.
Yeah, you can pick up your phone if it's not a text message.
Whatever the thing is, going to be the same thing. If Yahweh tells you to get on your knees and write things down 3 times, and you're not going to do it because it doesn't make sense. You have your reward. I knew it. And you know what my reward was? Guilt, because I knew I missed it. And I'm like, dang, why do I got to be on my knees? Do you know how hard that is? Now, here it is. Now, Paul, I love that Tim did the best teaching on this because Tim is a sailor, he could sail. He knew about being 2 weeks on the ocean without any stars. They have no idea where they are. 2 weeks. Izzy and I got stranded in Zurich for like 14 hours, and then we had to spend the night. And the next day we had jet lag. It was not funny. It was. But this is 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He's a prisoner on the boat. Verse 27 and 14th. I'm going to go to 27. Actually, Mom, would you read that? So I don't read too fast.
28, 27.
Yeah.
For the heart of this people.
No, 28, 27. Oh, I'm sorry, 27, 27.
Oh, 27,
Yeah,
27. Okay. And when the 14th night had come, and we were being driven to and fro in the Adriatic, about midnight the sailors suspected that some country was nearing them. And sounding, they found 20 fathoms.
Pause there. And then Tim pointed out that they put anchors off a part of the boat. You don't do that unless you want your boat being smashed apart. The boat's being broken apart. 2 weeks. They've already lost all their cargo. It's been dark. verse 30.
But when the sailors were seeking to flee out of the ship and had lowered the boat into the sea by pretext, as though out of the prow they had been about to reach anchors, Paul said unto the centurion and unto the soldiers, Except these abide in the ship, ye yourselves cannot be saved.
Now we'll pause there for a second. I'm a reasonable guy. I like logic. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any kind of sense. What is them getting out of the boat have to do with anybody else? Anybody else have that problem sometimes? Yahweh tells you to do something? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to make faith and obedience, certainty. That if he says do it, I'm going to do it. That he's watching. And what did Paul do? They get off, we're all going to die. You can imagine afterwards, do what they do? And who's trying to escape? Are these prisoners? No, what's the word say?
Soldiers.
Sailors!
Soldiers.
Sailors!
Oh, yeah.
Does it say soldiers?
It says,
But when the sailors were seeking to flee out on the ship, verse 30. These are just the sailors, man. It's not the soldiers. It's not the prisoners. Let us go, man. We've got no
These are
beef.
the guys that know what they're doing.
But Yahweh goes, Yahweh told them, and what do? Cut the boats off, and you're like looking at Paul going, do they survive? Mm-hmm. They do. They do survive, and they swim ashore. We read this thing. Yahweh's going to tell you to tell somebody, you get in that boat, she's going to leave you. They're going to tell you, if you eat that food, that door's going to close. You deliver his messages, whatever it is. Just like the Apostle Paul did. It's not supposed to make sense. You just know what you're supposed to do. And when you're afraid to do it, you don't know how to communicate, just get the words going. Say, hey, I got something for you. How am I going to get to this? And you just kind of say a prayer. Then Yahweh will work through your words for you to deliver the messages. Paul's message delivered everybody's life. Now, verse 28, because we're talking about discipline. Was that discipline for Paul? Yes. Exercising? Yeah. It's hard for me to get on my knees. Are you kidding me? To rewrite the teaching 3 times. It gets so uncomfortable. Then we're in verse 28. Why would you read that?
And sounding, they found 20 fathoms, and going a little further, and again sounding, they found 15 fathoms. And fearing lest haply on rocky places they should be wrecked, out of stern cast they 4 anchors, and began praying that day might dawn. But when the sailors were seeking to flee out of the ship and had lowered the boat into the sea by pretext...
Wait. Where'd you... I thought you were 28 verse 1.
Oh, chapter 20.
28 verse 1.
Oh, sorry. And when we were safely through, then we knew that the island was called Melita, and the natives began to show us no common philanthropy. For kindling a fire, they received us all because of the rain that had set in and because of the cold. And when Paul had gathered a certain lot of firewood into a bundle and laid it on the fire, a viper, by reason of the heat, coming forth fastened on his hand. And when the natives saw the brute hanging out from his hand, they began to say one to another, Doubtless this man is a murderer, whom though brought safely through out of the sea, justice has not suffered to live.
The word justice, Dad pointed this out. This is a Greek god.
Yep.
It's a Greek god, Dike. So they have a god, justice. Okay? He's a murderer. Okay? And he, however, shaking off the brute into the fire, suffered no harm. Verse 6, Mom, would you read that?
Whereas they were expecting that he was about to become inflamed or to fall down suddenly dead. But when they had been long expecting and had observed nothing unusual happening unto him, they changed their minds and began to say he was a god.
He was an Elohim. I don't know where I got these notes that I'm getting ready to read. I don't ever remember writing them down. But we're talking about discipline and a war going on between Yahweh and the adversary. We don't want to know what the adversary is up to. We don't want to know what's going on. It is so disgusting. You ever seen like horrible, nasty diseases or something that could keep you up at night? We don't even want to see it. But here's the Apostle Paul, 2 weeks, a day and a night, shipwrecked. You have hypothermia if you're in the water. You can. A brute bites them and they go... They're placing bet. 15 minutes. I got 20 minutes. 30 minutes. All right, here we go. This guy's dead meat. He's dead. And this is the Isle of Malta. And what does he do? He shakes it off into the fire. Hey, how about a heads up with that? Hey, why didn't you tell me not to grab a log? You know how long I've been working for you? I just saved those guys' life. I just got bit. What about me? I need a vacation. Well, that would have been me. But that wasn't the Apostle Paul, was it?
No.
He shook it off in the fire. And you know what he did? He started ministering. The living Elohim. And he does a revival. Now here's the thing about that, shaking the viper off into the fire. This word viper, Jesus Christ called the Pharisees, you vipers. Jehoshua knew who they were. Genesis 3:15, the serpent is crushed. The serpent is going to be crushed. In Exodus 4:4, let me see here. Moses was to take the serpent up by the tail. Revelation 20:10, the serpent's going to be thrown alive into a fire. What just happened here? A serpent alive into a fire. Also, Ezekiel 28:11, he's going to be burned. It's going to be for a long time too. Luke 10:19, no serpents, scorpions, or all powers of the enemy. What do you say? Lo, I've given you authority to tread upon serpents, scorpions, and all powers of the enemy. Nothing shall in any wise do you harm. And then Paul, I love this because his name's Publius. Now in the neighborhood of that place where the hands belonged to the chief man of the island by the name of Publius, who making us welcome for 3 days, hospitality entertained us, and so it happened that the father of Publius was feverishly. Wait a minute, you think Yahweh knew about this fever? Was feverishly heats and dysentery and distress, was laying prostrate when Paul entering in and praying laid hands upon him and healed him. And when this happened, the rest also, even they in the island who were sick, were coming in and getting cured, who also were with many hours honoring us. And it was because of snake bite. Are you tough enough to take a snake bite without quitting? Here he is, and he shook it right off. Paul's discipline. I think about Dad being taught by Jesuit priests. They could spank you? Oh my goodness! Somebody call an attorney. What do you think Apostle Paul was raised by with Gamaliel? He was the most strict. There was nobody as strict as this guy. How do you think he got there? It's probably swats and spankings and all kinds of discipline. But this guy was a man of mans. Can we shake off a snake bite? Could Yahweh ask you to take one for the team? It's going to be like that? As I started thinking about this after the fact, well, a rattlesnake, it's going to hurt. 2 syringes. It's going to scare me. Probably need new shorts. But it's not going to hurt that bad. Okay, but here's this whole thing. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The Apostle Paul and his endurance. Let me see here. Will we take a snake bite publicly? Actually, I kind of thought about that. I was like, I've seen somebody get bit by a snake publicly and not die. You know who it was? That guy. Behind the camera. By a venomous snake. Did you know that?
Nope.
Yeah.
Your dad?
Yeah.
What?
We were at Rock the Desert.
Oh.
And here's the scriptures. And a guy comes up to Dad, and my dad's having talks, and Dad goes, have you read Ephesians 3:1? To the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. It says Jesus has a God. Bites down on Dad. He goes, it says right here in 17:2. What does he do? He bites him again. We looked, we were like, what's wrong with this guy? We're the Christian fan. You can't say Jesus has a God. I didn't say it. It says it right here. He took off. This guy was so hot. I was watching him going to go. And he came back with all these leaders, and they go, this is the owner of the whole thing. What's the problem here? This guy's freaking out. Dad said I showed him Ephesians 3:1. To the God and Father of Jesus Christ. And they went, that's it? Yeah. What's this guy's problem? He's denouncing the Trinity. He's denouncing the divinity. Does Jesus have a God? Guess what they're going to do? They're going to bite you. Are you going to live? Man, can you take it for the team? Can you say, well, where did they get this Trinity? They made it up. They have 3 gods. And if you say anything about these gods, what's going to happen? Whoa. And the innocent people around you, what are they going to do? They're going to go, golly, I will never bring that up again. Yeah. But if we take it as a team, I'm thinking about my dad getting bit by showing Ephesians 3:1. All he was doing, he was talking about Mac Powell, third day, and about who is this King of Glory? And Dad goes, it's Yahweh right here. And the guy goes, well, no, Yahweh is Jesus. And Dad goes, no, Yahweh is Jesus' dad. No, Yahweh is Jesus. And Dad went, and then he showed him the Ephesians 3:1 and the whole thing. But Dad got bit. Would you get bit? Would you speak up? They're going to bite you. But guess what happens when other people watch you get bit? What happened to these other people that watched Paul get bit? Did Paul know what was going to happen?
No.
Yehoshua knew.
Yeah.
Yahweh knew. And I wonder what happened to these other people that watched my dad get bit. I'm talking about getting bit, and so that's kind of a sidetrack going to go, yeah, I'd get bit, or I'll slam my hand on the door, get bit by a dog. Would you do it on church? To say God's in control. I just did this with somebody. I was talking about this guy that said Jesus murdered his 2 grandchildren. And she went, why would a Christian say that? I go, well, God's in control. She goes, well, he is in control. And I said, well, that's what this guy said too. If God's in control, he killed my 2 grandchildren. They were in the basement with carbon monoxide. My daughter woke up and the two kids are dead. He's in control. He killed them. And she looked at me and she's not going to say anything about it. Do you know why? You're going to get bit. Mm-hmm. And that's where we go, the truth sets you free. I can take it. The Apostle Paul, they drug him out once. After they stoned him, and Andrew Womack, he goes, he was dead. They killed this guy. It didn't say that, but why would you drag the body out? This guy's dead. He took it. And guess what he did? Man, I need a new shirt. All right, where are we going now? We got right back to it. But discipline. You're going to burn out. I'm going to burn out. Where are you going? Hebrews chapter 12. We're going to look at the king of discipline. We'll wrap up. The hero of discipline. Page 232. I had a friend in Germany that I thought I was going to go visit. And I said, I got to show you something. And we looked at the greetings of all the church epistles. And I had her count. 1, 2. 1, 2. Greetings from God the Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. 1, 2. All through them. And she got done reading. I said, I asked you for a big favor. Would you do it? She said, sure, I would. And I go, I just want to go through these with you. Will you do it with me? 1, 2. From God the Father, the Lord Jesus Christ. We got done with her. And I said, why weren't there 3? Where's the Holy Spirit? And with the Revelation, she wouldn't turn to Revelation. And I showed Revelation, there's 2 thrones. And I go, what's up with that? And she goes, why did you do that? And guess what happened? That was the end of the relationship. But yeah, I got bitten in that. And you're like, well, what's the point of that? You lost a relationship. Man, my treasures aren't here.
Yeah.
I got an island. I got a mountain. I got a house that Yahweh told me to aim for. It looks like one of Trump's buildings. My family's going to be there. You guys going to be proud to know me? And I got to deliver, speaking the truth in love. Thank you, Father. That's Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, indeed, seeing that we also have encircling us so great a cloud of witness, stripping off every encumbrance. See the footnote? What's it say at the bottom?
Oh, arrogance.
Arrogance. Stripping off every arrogance. Anything that's contrary to Yahweh's word is arrogance. You not getting on your knees to do a teaching is arrogance. You not speaking the truth in love is arrogance. Mm-hmm. You're exalting your own knowledge and your own things above it. I'm going to go strip it off. Anything that's contrary to the word, get rid of it. Mm-hmm. I would never think of myself arrogant with Yahweh, but anytime I rebel or I disobey or I ignore him, I don't want to hear him anymore, I'm being arrogant. In my opinion. That's not necessarily the definition of the word. And every entangling sin with endurance, let us be running the race that is lying before us, looking to our face princely leader and perfecter, Yehoshua. Yehoshua, who in consideration of the joy lying before him endured the cross, shame despising. How did he do it? The joy that was set before him. If you're not practicing on some sort of joy, you're not going to do it. You're not going to make it. You're going to have regret. But he had that joy. And who else had a joy, endured suffering? Caleb and Joshua for 40 years probably being mocked by the generation dying off. Oh, Caleb and Joshua, those guys are full of it. Look, there's all of us. How big was that generation? 1 million people? 1 million to 2, maybe? I don't know. How many How many were the generation that died off against Caleb? And here it was. And they hung in there. Why? A promise. We're going to the land of Canaan. Why are they going to the land of Canaan? It didn't say they necessarily even wanted to go there, but this was Yahweh's inheritance for Abraham. But Yehoshua would have read that. They endured, they hung on to it, they got it. Let me see here. For take ye in consideration, verse 3, him who hath endured such contradiction by sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied. And I'm not going to go into these words, but endurance, being wearied in your souls, becoming exhausted. You're going to get exhausted. I'm going to keep reading on verse 6. I'll skip down to verse 5. And ye have quite forgotten the exhortation which indeed with you as the son's doth reason. My son, do not slighting the discipline of the Lord, neither be fainting with him, thou art reproved. I asked Elijah that. I said, did you regret all that training with Brian Butler when you started as a freshman at Mays? Nope. All that discipline. Verse 7, for the sake of discipline, persevere. Push through, as towards sons of Yahweh, bearing himself towards you. For who is the son whom a father doth not discipline? If, however, you are without discipline, wherefore all have received a share, then are ye bastards, not sons. And the second discipline of verse 7 is that word that we're looking at, the paiduo. Verse 11, we'll finish up there. But no discipline at the present indeed seems to be of joy, but of sorrow. That's why we go into it. We take our own joy into it. Afterwards, however, to them who thereby have been well trained, it yield peaceful fruit of righteousness. Therefore, the slack hands and the paralyzed knees restore you. That was a strength coach at K-State. I was offered a job as an assistant at K-State strength coach, and he had a coin with Hebrews on that. Your slack hands and your paralyzed knees. Each day, what can we do? We strip off our encumbrance. Yahweh gives us, He gives the joy that's set before you. Hebrews 12:1. How we should start our day. Where's your joy? The long-term joy. Where are you going? Okay, say it. Then it says in Colossians 3, it also says in Ephesians, kill your old man. Mm-hmm. You don't let him get a jump on you. Don't feed the old man and deal with him later. Kill him now. Baby skunks, deal with them now. It's going to be a real big problem, right? You got to kill it now. So what do? Joy, Colossians 3, kill your old man. Then you know what you do after that? You do with the old man after that? It says strip him off. Strip that dead sucker off. And what is stripping the dead man off? Stinking thinking. You get rid of it. I rebuke it. I get rid of it. I'm not going with that. Then, Colossians 3:9, put on the new man. Put on the new man. And then Hebrews 12:1, back to that one, but then Philippians 13 and 14, Philippians 3, 13 and 14, run to win. And then with all of this, how are you going to stay in there? Your balance, your harmonic balancer is going to be the scriptures always. You can't substitute the scriptures, but it's the peace of Yahweh. Do you have peace? If you got peace, it's going to sustain you. And so that's how we will not be wearied or exhausted like Jesus Christ. We take those steps. And who knows? I mean, if I've never imagined the reward that's said before, if I've never imagined my house, okay, you guys agree we probably should? Mm-hmm. Now imagine this. What has Yahweh got you in prep school for? Or why does he want you to go to prep school? What does he want to train you for? Moses, did he ever think? Moses is going to write these books? He's 120 years old. You know what this guy did?
How many times he had to go up the mountain?
But the Apostle Paul, Joseph, Noah, any one of these ones. Now you also go, what is Yahweh desiring to do a prep course with you? And just imagine big. Start big. Start really big. And guess what? The teacher's in the room. He'll start going, not so much that way. Right over here. You have a gift. You can draw and write. But it's without wings until you find a way to use it to glorify Yahweh.
Yeah.
Then your gift will take off to a whole nother level. No, it's my own little thing. That's what I thought with the guitar. That was my own thing. Dad goes, you need to sing at fellowship. I was upset with him because I wanted my own thing. But anyways. And then, wrapping up. I went a little long, but wrapping up with all this, John 13:7. Jesus Christ was washing the disciples' feet. And he goes, you're not going to wash my feet. He goes, what I'm doing right now, you don't understand. You'll understand later. It's a good thing for us to memorize.
Yeah.
Because when he tells you to pick up a piece of trash or keep your mouth shut, that's me. You'll understand later. And then Isaiah 55, he says, my ways are not your ways. Just trust the training. Trust the process. And then we can become masters of discipline for our jobs on the new earth. Father, we thank you for your words and thank you for these things. Do not be fearful. Separate yourself from fear and being overwhelmed. When you can't even consider some of these things about where you're going, it's an indication that your old man has gotten out of control. You got to kill him, you got to strip him back, and you got to take over. There is no peace with poison ivy. It will take over your whole house. It will rot out your siding. It will creep in things. There will be leaks, and there's all kinds of things. There's no peace. You got to strip it off and cut it out. And force yourself to go these places that I dreamed for you. As a perfect father dreams for his daughter and his son and where he'd like to take them, their abilities. And as you do so, I will reward you above and beyond anything you can imagine. Amen.
Amen.